my name is Megan, and I am here today with Inbal Claudio, who is the founder of Like-Minded Collective. So hi Inbal, how are you doing today?
Hi, good. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you so much for letting me interview you. So I just kind of wanted to start off really. Could you start off by telling us a little bit about kind of yourself and the company?
Yeah, so I am originally from Israel. I grew up in California, and which is where I met my husband. Um, we started shortly after our relationship, we started a candle company, which we ended up taking with us to North Carolina when we moved across country. And I started to grow the business out there. About 2 years after we got married, we decided to have a baby, and the business kind of changed from in-person events and shows to more of an online presence. And I realized that I was going to kind of cap out at a certain point, so I wanted to look for alternate ways to grow my business, and I was looking for influencer marketing platforms. And I quickly realized that being a small business with no employees, just myself, my budget was very limited. And these influencer marketing platforms that I found were just way too expensive and out of my budget. They required either hundreds of dollars a month to be on a search platform where you can search for influencers and influencers can search for you. Or they kind of set you up with influencers and then they charge, a minimum amount of money to spend a year on influencer marketing. Or they require the brands to have a certain amount of employees or to be a certain size, which I just wasn't. So I started thinking of, ways to kind of build a website that would fit what I was looking for, especially for small businesses, small brands, influencers who are just starting out. And that's kind of how I started to brainstorm for Like-Minded.
Yeah.
I really just wanted a platform to help small businesses, which I didn't see any place on the internet. Was, there was no website or company that was doing that.
Yeah, of course. And so I kind of answers my next question then, really, that you kind of I was going to ask kind of where that idea came from, but the idea that you kind of frustrated to see that there wasn't any kind of other platforms out there for, small businesses and kind of underrepresented kind of influencers to kind of, combine their ideas and kind of create them.
Yeah, there was nothing like that. And it started off as just a way to connect and collaborate brands and influencers, but it's kind of evolved since then just because I was trying to find like a PR company to work for. I was trying to work with a social media company. I was looking for mentors, because I had no tech background.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow, this platform could be used to also look for people. So if I, join the platform as a small business, and then I can look for other tech startup founders on the website and ask them questions and say, hey, I'm just starting out. I would love to pick your brain. Or if I'm looking for a virtual assistant, I can go on the website and find a virtual assistant. So it's kind of evolved from just collaborations in the US to, okay, this could be a nationwide, worldwide platform. Podcasters in the UK can look for
Yeah.
small businesses all over.
Mm.
Um, and so my idea started as one thing and then kind of changed to something else just from my personal experience.
Yeah, it sounds great. And yeah, so that's brilliant. And so what has your kind of your journey kind of been like, kind of obviously creating this business? Obviously you said that it's evolved into kind of a lot of different things as you've kind of gone along, which I suppose is quite natural. But in terms of, yeah, what's kind of been the journey been like? Have there been any kind of really notable like high points or kind of things that you found that's been quite difficult along the way?
Yeah. So I started I started brainstorming like November of 2019. And my daughter was about 4 months. And then my husband got deployed
Mm.
overseas for 6 months in February. And so I came to California to stay with my parents, with my daughter. And that's when I kind of started implementing everything. So I started looking for developers. I started looking for a branding agency to help with my branding and logo and all that. And there were definitely more low points.
Yeah.
Just starting out, just because there was a huge learning curve, like I said, I had no tech background. So dealing with developers and really finding out the best way to work with somebody who is outsourcing the work, and language barriers and
Yeah.
contracts and things like that. So I definitely had to learn a lot, but it was a great learning experience. And yeah, so I spent the 6 months out here trying to build it with the help of my dad. And then when my husband came back we moved back to North Carolina. I actually let go of the developer that I was working with, had to look for another one, which was interesting.
Stressful. I bet.
Very
Yeah.
stressful. But every step of the project, is exciting.
Yeah.
Along with the lows come highs as well, because you're just so excited that things are moving forward. And then I hired a great PR firm, and they've done so much as far as help get my name out there and build my social media presence. And it's just been so nice to get people's positive reactions from it, where it's like, okay, I may be having a really bad day because my developer pushed out my project 4 months, but I'm working with an amazing team and people are loving what I'm about to put out. So the highs outweigh the lows, but the lows are just so frustrating.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I completely get that. But it's so nice that you speak so positively about your whole experience, that even the lower points, that there is something to learn from that, which is really great, and kind of brings me on to my next question. Really, I was going to talk, I think I read it was in the email that I was sent, and you were talking about kind of wanting to inspire other young kind of women and other kind of female entrepreneurs as well. So kind of, I just wanted to ask, really, what was the kind of moment that you kind of realized? Was there a moment when you realized, I really want to kind of inspire other kind of female entrepreneurs to kind of set up their own kind of business, really, and like the like-minded collective?
I just feel like, when I was starting out, I would say, like, with this idea specifically, it took me a while to find, platforms or groups on Facebook that were very, geared towards the tech industry and startup industry, which is, I thought, just a male dominant industry,
Yeah.
but there are so many women who want to help other women. And especially with Clubhouse, I follow so many other women tech founders and, venture capitalists and angel investors. These women are so powerful and amazing, and they just want to help. And, I'm currently 8 months pregnant. So I recently was asking a question in a Clubhouse group, like, how do you deal with being pregnant, and kind of starting to think about fundraising. And this woman was telling me that she had a meeting with a venture capital firm the day she got induced to have her baby. And then she had her baby. And then for a year, she was traveling with her baby and her mom helped, trying to fundraise for her business. And I was like, wow, this is the motivation that I need to just do it.
Yeah.
There's no good time to have a baby. There's no good time to start a tech startup in the midst of moving and all this stuff. Like, you just need to do it, and other women have. And so I think it's just inspiring. And I think that more women need to talk about their experiences to let other women know, anything is possible.
Yeah, of course, definitely. Yeah, no, and it's so lovely to hear kind of people's stories about how, especially women, how like yourself, you have children and you're kind of balancing that with kind of work and your own businesses and like relationships and just life in general, and yeah, it's just really inspirational. I think, as you were saying, like, just communicating your own stories in itself inspires other people to kind of put their own business together, and that's why it's so lovely to kind of interview you and get this on a podcast and get this out there, so hopefully it will inspire someone else to do the same thing. It's really, really great.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you just never know who's going to listen and who
Mm,
it's going to affect. And like I said, I just think people just need to talk about it,
yeah,
because it was something that I was hesitant to talk about. Um, I always said like, oh yeah, like I don't want, it's good that I'm meeting people in Zoom because nobody's going to see that I'm pregnant. And like, who wants to work with a tech startup that the founder is pregnant, doesn't have any employees?
yeah.
But it can happen. So yeah, it's definitely something that more people need to talk about. And I think that the more people talk about it, the more normal it'll be. And it was actually funny because in the Clubhouse group, there was a male who gave his opinion as well. And he was like, I love seeing kids in the background of Zoom. And it doesn't always have to be so serious. And people have real lives,
Yeah, of
and
course, yeah.
as as long as you kind of relay what your goals are and how you're going to get it, and you just work hard to get to your goals and your investors see that, or whoever you're working with, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
So
definitely. I completely agree. And yeah, and it's really lovely because as you were saying, yeah, life it still happens, and we all have a life outside of work and things, and those two, and I mean, the situation that we have at the moment has kind of been like the epitome of that. People have kind of been at home trying to balance, having to like work remotely and kind of take care of kids and educate their kids and things, like do homeschooling. So yeah, as you were saying, it's lovely to see kind of young kind of entrepreneurs and people kind of trying to set up their own and evolve their own business whilst kind of taking care of their own kids and having a life at the same time, and their own life, a personal life of their own. Yeah, it's really lovely to see. So that's great.
I think it just makes people more normal,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
instead of being so intimidated by somebody, you see them kind of on your same level and you're like, wow, you're a dad or a mom, and so you kind of have something to relate to them.
yeah, definitely. That's brilliant. And amazing. So my another question that I have was how did you kind of talk about your kind of target audience? So I wanted to ask, how did you kind of tailor your kind of platform to kind of fit your ideal target audience?
Um, I feel like that's been the hardest thing because I feel like my target market is so broad,
Mm,
um, that it kind of involves everybody on the social media platforms. So I've just kind of taken a more personal approach to it. When I created the Instagram page, it was before I hired anybody to help me with it. And I just started reaching out to people.
mm,
So I was reaching out to influencers and really small businesses that I just found on Instagram, and was telling them, hi, my name is Inbal. This is what I'm doing. This is why I came up with it. And I would love for you to try the platform when it comes out. And so I started kind of just reaching out to whoever I could, but making it very personal, and trying to get a good amount of people on both sides. So the influencer side as well as the brand and business side. And I just felt like because I had a small candle company, I was a brand, a small business, it was easy for me to kind of think of the people that I would have wanted to work with.
yeah, yeah,
And so I think just being my own target market helped build a platform that I would want to use. So I think that definitely helped.
yeah. No, that's great. And you also talk about I think it's on your website, and you spoke about helping kind of underrepresented influencers. And I just wanted to ask kind of what exactly do you mean when you're kind of talking about underrepresented influencers? Who kind of comes under that kind of category? Who is it that you're kind of talking about when you said that, when you wrote that? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a part of a few Facebook group pages for influencers, and a lot of what I see are influencers who are just starting out with maybe less than 100 followers, less than 1,000 or 5,000 followers, asking, oh, I have, 1,000 followers and I'm just trying to reach out to brands. And a lot of people are responding to them with, oh, you just need to build it to 10,000, then brands will want to work with you. And I
Mm,
just don't feel like that's the case at all because, like, a candle company, for example, if somebody has 200, 300 followers, but true followers and friends that will believe in the products, I don't care if they don't have 10,000 followers, you know?
Yeah, of
But the
course.
problem is that so many people think they have to have a certain amount of followers. They need to be like everybody else, quote unquote. And that's just not the case. So I really want these influencers who are just starting out to realize that there is a place for them. There are brands that want to work with them, and they don't have to have a minimum amount of followers in order to make that happen. You know, it's kind of like which came first, the chicken or the egg, because
Yeah. Yeah.
you need to have partnerships and brands and people, you know, to help you get to a certain point. But how are you going to get to that if apparently nobody wants to work with you, which is not the case, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
So
it's a tricky one. Yeah.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So I really feel like there's influencers who, yes, they can join these influencer marketing platforms for free, but they're not going to get accepted by these platforms until they have a certain amount of followers.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make sense to me. Like everybody should have the chance to work with brands, and small brands don't have the budget to pay influencers with that much money. So they're more willing to work with people who have a smaller following, maybe gift them a product instead of pay. And both brand and influencers, you know, gain from that experience.
Yeah, of course, definitely. No, definitely. It sounds really great what you're doing, because I know quite a lot of I follow quite a lot personally of small brands and small businesses on Instagram, and I know a few that have had very similar difficulties trying to kind of market their products and things, and have been getting kind of rejections from kind of sites because they don't have the 1,000 2,000 followers on Instagram or whatever, but actually they do really well because in terms of quality of their followers, they have a lot of kind of friends, family members, close relationships with people who will buy their products. So yeah, I definitely agree. It's really, really great to see a platform for that kind of evolving and emerging.
Yeah, and I think the big problem too is that because so many people have gotten it in their heads that they need to have, 10,000 followers or more, that the people who have less than that, they look at their followers as like, oh, well, I only have 400, 500 followers. But it's like those 400, 500 followers are real people,
Yeah.
that care
Yeah.
about what you're doing. You can't just be like, oh, well, they don't matter because they're not 10,000. It's like they matter because they're following you, and they're still
Yeah.
people. So it's something that I heard somebody talk about actually in an email marketing podcast that I was listening to. They were like, you only have 100 or 200 people on your email marketing list, but those are real people, that you should be excited about. You should treat those 200 people on your email list or your followers as if they were the 10,000,
Yeah.
treat them so well. And then naturally, they will want to tell their friends about you and what you're doing, and just make every person feel important. And that's the way to grow, not, buying followers or not caring about your followers and things like that. So everybody
Yeah.
matters. And
Yeah, of
that's what
course. Yeah, definitely. No, definitely. Like, followers aren't numbers; they are people, as you quite rightly said, and those are people that are willing to kind of invest in your product. So it's kind of trying to gain that loyalty really with kind
yeah.
of people who are going to invest in you. No, that's brilliant. And I just also wanted to ask, do you kind of have any really inspiring or kind of touching stories about people who have used Like-Minded Collective and have kind of, got a connection or a collaboration with someone that has kind of been really beneficial to them, and they've kind of reached out to you and thanked you for it? Or
So I'm launching in June, so it's still
oh,
in the
right.
works.
Right.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was supposed to launch in March, but issues with developers and things like that. Life happens.
Yeah.
So we're pushing till June. But there was actually one of my sister's friends started a skincare serum,
Yeah.
And so she reached out and she was like, hey, like, do you know any influencers who could possibly help us out? And so I gave her a couple influencers that I never met in real life, but just through the Instagram page that I had. And they ended up doing a collaboration together. And it was just funny because she ended up knowing her boyfriend from a previous job she had, and it just worked out to be a successful partnership. And that's just, through text message.
Yeah.
So I'm just so excited to see what the platform actually does and how it helps people connect, because it is very difficult to find and filter through people at the moment on Instagram and Facebook. So it'll be nice to see the first few success stories.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's all very exciting, and it's something that you've got to look forward to as well, which is going to be I'm sure, like, it's going to feel amazing when you hear those things, those responses back from people who've like,
Yeah.
thank you so much, because this has helped me on my journey. No, that's brilliant. And yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. Your responses and answers have been really helpful, and I'm sure will be really helpful to our audience, and hopefully inspire some other kind of members as well to kind of put their own entrepreneurial hats on, have a think about what they kind of want to create as well.
And if any of your listeners want to try it, we offer 10 days for free when people sign up. But if anybody wants an extended, we do 30 days for free for people who reach out. So if somebody just sends a message on Instagram, we'll set them up with a free 30 days to try the platform once it launches.
Yeah, of course. And this is Inbal Claudio for Like-Minded Collective, and you can reach out to her via her website. And what's your email address, Inbal?
Inbal@lm-collective.com.
Brilliant. That's perfect. Okay, thank you so much again for your time, and it was really, really lovely speaking to you, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Thanks so much again.
Thank you, you as well.
Thank you. See you. Take care.
Bye. Thank you. You too.
Bye.